Hello and welcome. If you're on my channel today, you probably have a Mitsubishi Triton, just like I have. On my channel, I will discuss some common problems with the Mitsubishi Triton. I have a 2.5 2007 model, the 4x4, and common problems that will arise with these vehicles is mostly going to be a power loss. If you go on the forums and you ask the question, why do I lose power on my Mitsubishi Triton, I will just flip over the screen in a bit as I'm using my phone. You will see the first answer people will refer to will be the vacuum hose on your intake manifold. Now I also went there and mine was different. It was not my problem, and I will just flip over the screen now as I will discuss with you guys what the problem was. So now that I've got the camera flipped over, I am pointing towards a vacuum hose connected to my intake manifold. Now sometimes these little hoses gets older, they do become brittle, and you see this little brass nipple coming out of there. Sorry for the, just get the focus in there. There she is. These little hoses, this is the most common problem you will find when you have a power loss. People will refer to this little hose here and they will tell you to just have a look. It might be popped off, and you will find it underneath your top cover. It will just be loose, it will just sit there. So if you have a problem with a power loss, sometimes all you have to do is just reconnect this to the little brass nipple, and voila, your car will be running like a horse again. Mine, however, it was not the problem. I had a complete loss of power. I drove about 20 kilometers out of town, and yeah, the magical dollar sign would just pop up, the engine light, and there was a complete loss of power on this vehicle. And yeah, well, I came back and did a diagnostic on the vehicle, and it indicated that I have two problems, and one is located over here and one is located over there in the back. This little square sensor over there, that's called your map sensor, your manifold absolute pressure sensor. And this one over here is your intake temperature sensor. So it indicated that I have two faulty sensors right over there. However, these are still the same sensors that I'm using. It's not exchanged. So after the diagnostic, I went and I checked and I replaced these hoses, as the ones that was on there was a little bit brittle. Sorry for the bad footage. I replaced these and I put some cable ties on there just to make sure they're nice and firm and they won't pop off. However, the problem still existed, and being a vehicle with 257,000 kilometers on there, obviously there is some wear and tear going on inside the engine, and that contributed to the problem. Now if you look at the intake manifold, which is located right over here, this is also one common problem we have with these vehicles. One of the main reasons we have problems with the intake manifold is because of the oil vapors that comes through your breather hose, through your intake, through your turbo, all the way down through your intercooler into your boost hose, and from there it goes past your intake temperature sensor and then past your EGR valve to your intake. So this is where the problem is. The oil vapors that come through here mixes with the carbon that comes through your EGR, and that creates a soot buildup inside your intake manifold. Over time, the soot buildup will just continue and continue and continue, and I will show you this a little tool, homemade tool I made, which you can make yourself to fix one of the problems, but that's not the permanent fix. So what happens is you're going to have to remove this intake manifold at some point and have it properly cleaned out, because of all the soot buildup. It's going to restrict your airflow, and it's also going to restrict your vacuum flow. So if you have a loss of power and it indicates that you have a faulty map sensor, before you change the map sensor, if you have high mileage on your vehicle, you're probably going to have the same problem which I had. Just come down here, remove this vacuum hose, and then the special tool to fix the problem, I just bent a piece of wire and just stick it right in there. Just make sure it's not going to fall inside, because if something's going to fall inside, you're going to have to remove everything. So just make sure it can't fall inside. Just work it in and out. And make sure this little nipple is open all the way through. Just look at that. Just look at that. Pop it back in there. Put a cable tie on. Make sure it can't come off. Start your vehicle. Start your bakkie and try again. So that concludes the problem I had with the map sensor. If you come across the same problem, make sure to refer to the intake manifold first. You can have the mechanic clean out your intake manifold, or you can do it yourself. It's a bit of a nasty job, but yeah, you can do it yourself. So yeah, just before you change the map sensor, make sure that little nipple is open. Make sure the vacuum hoses are nice and tight. Make sure they're not brittle, they're not cracked, so that your map sensor can have a proper vacuum reading from your intake manifold. So yeah, I hope this video helped you guys. I hope this solved your problem, and there will be more videos following. My backie's a little bit busted up, so she's a good model for these videos, but yeah, she's still going strong. Yeah, another problem, a common issue on these 2.5, these 4D56 motors is another common issue on these engines, the 4D56 motor, is the balancer shaft. Yeah, I had a problem with my balancer shaft. The pulley came off, and yeah, there was a bit of damage, which is also repaired without new spares. I'm still waiting for a balancer shaft pulley. Cannot believe it, but in South Africa there is not one available at Mitsubishi. So yeah, I have to order one in from, I think, Dubai or Korea, somewhere there. And yeah, so once I have a balancer shaft pulley, I can do the repair on that. But there is also a bypass you can do on that in order to keep going. Yeah, it's just gonna create a little bit of vibrations, but yeah, you can still drive the vehicle. So yes, that concludes everything on the map sensor problem. It's a nice cold day here in Jeffreys Bay, South Africa. I do hope you find this video useful. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon to be notified every time I upload new content. I will try to keep you guys updated with more common issues on the Mitsubishi Triton as soon as I can.